Hello and welcome to another episode of VG Club. My name is Daxter23 Jack, aka Viv, and today I am joined by Cris, aka Korea9,
Hey.
Cool Luck, aka Marcus,
Hello, hello.
and BGK394, aka Ben.
8.
And today we will be discussing the cult classic from 2014 or was it 2015?
Teen.
Okay. Bloodborne, which honestly I feel like when people talk about their favorite Soulsborne, this is usually towards the top of the list. I know like certain people like Boots kind of just on the blogs were like you go back like periodically like every year or every other year to play the game. So this was my first time playing it for more than like 10 or 15 minutes, and all in all, I had a decent experience. I don't think it's my favorite Soulsborne, but we can get into that more in just a moment. Did you guys want to start off by talking about the story or what little story there actually is?
No.
No? Okay.
And that's mostly because like I don't like I have to rely on YouTube videos to really see like what was going on in this game. You get little bits and pieces, but if you're not like fully exploring and like, oh, hold on, let me keep notes on like who this person is and what their deal is and connecting the dots, it's just not something that I could tell you exactly what happened.
And that was one of my problems with the game. I felt like I didn't have a lot of direction. And maybe for some people that was great. They like just having a free form experience where they can just go wherever they want. But I just want I played the game for like 15 plus hours, and I couldn't even tell you kind of the your character's main objective. The game starts out you I guess you travel to this foreign land where eldritch people are infusing themselves with eldritch blood, and surprise surprise, some of these people turn into unspeakable horrors after time. But in order to fight them, you have to we got a hobby.
I am here to chew bubblegum and talk about Bloodborne. And I'm all out of
Cool.
bubblegum.
So yeah, we just got started, and we were basically just talking about. Well, I was talking about kind of the lack of direction in the game, kind of the narrative. Like, I 15 plus hours into the game, and I feel like it couldn't really tell you more beyond like, hey, you're a foreigner to this land where people infuse themselves with eldritch blood. You infuse yourself with eldritch blood because you're a pale blood, and you're trying to get to the clergy to get some information. I mean, maybe you can expand upon that, Bobby. Not Bobby. Javi.
All good. Apologies for arriving late. I skimmed the chat from when we agreed on the time, and I thought it was 5:30 Eastern. So, whoops. Anyways, yes.
That was my fault too. I got Marcus's message confused, so you can blame me.
Yeah. So, man, going over the story of Bloodborne is a tall task, even though like I'm like one of those sickos that became completely obsessed and watched virtually every single video essay on YouTube and Bloodborne explained and all that. But like the nitty gritty details are kind of squishy, and I think that's by design because I think the game is fully embracing the eldritch, unknowable, kind of vibe. But in broad strokes, I would say you are somebody who is an out-of-towner from Yarnum, and you were sick. You went there to, you heard about their miracle blood that can cure any ailment. So you go there, and part of receiving the blood is you have to sign a contract with the church that you will be a hunter, and that's kind of the UI when you're creating your character is kind of the contract, and or you're filling out your information, and so yeah, you start it and you wake up and you find a little note that says seek pale blood, So that's kind of the main objective. Like, yes, you're a hunter, but seeking pale blood is your goal, and you don't know who gave you that task. It was just next to the bed when you woke up. But it's a night of the hunt, and Yarnum's kind of hell, and there's monsters everywhere.
And the night never ends, or the night won't end until something occurs, correct?
That I'm not like super sure about, like, because like time in the game only passes when you defeat bosses, right? You defeat bosses, and then the sky changes, and you progress through the nightmare. But the or the dream, and that's another thing too. Is like, is the Yarnum you're playing in even real? Because arguably it's not. Because there's 3 different endings. I don't know if we're just going full spoilers right now.
I mean,
Yeah.
is everybody all right with that?
Yeah, sure.
For the
Yeah.
over
Okay,
10-year-old game, I think so.
Okay, spoil us, Javi.
Cool. So you have 3 different endings. Arguably, the worst ending is the happiest. So when you get to the finale, you go back to the hunter's dream. The place where you have the doll and you can level up, and Gurman is there, the old man, and basically he tells you, you've been great. You did what we wanted you to do, and now it's time to wake up because you've been dreaming this whole time. And so you can either say, sure, wake me up, or you can say no. And when you say sure, it just plays a little cutscene where he cuts off your head, like you're on your knees, and he decapitates you, and then you wake up in that bed where the game started, and you walk out into Yarnum, and it's morning, and it's just normal, and it's daytime, and you walk away. But you've forgotten everything. You don't remember anything you've learned or anything you did. You're just back to normal. So that's the worst ending, even though you seem to like go on with your life, and it seems like a happy ending. But now if you reject him, then obviously he's the final boss, and he's very hard. But
the guy that was in the wheelchair?
Yeah.
Okay.
He has like a super sick scythe, and
we'll get
really
to this
bad
later, but lots of wheelchair enemies. I don't think I've encountered a game with this many wheelchair enemies before.
That's right. Yeah, they're stronger than you think too. I love the ones with the like a rail gun that they have to like turn like a Jack in the Box, or it's a what was it called, like a chain gun rather. But yeah. Anyways, you fight Gurman, and once you defeat him, depending on if you did some extra steps during the main game, you get one of 2 endings there. So let's say you didn't do it and you defeat him, then you inherit his curse, basically. So like it fades to black, fades back in, and you're now in the wheelchair alongside the doll, stuck in the hunter's dream forever to guide new hunters as they end up going through the process. And I don't know if any of you caught, like, it's easily missable interaction with Gurman in the hunter's dream, but you can find him like hidden way in the back at certain times, and he's sleeping, and you can talk to him a couple times.
In the foresty area near like that well where you can like dress up the little nightmare creatures coming out?
Yeah, around there. It's a little further in the back, but like at first he snores and doesn't do anything, but if you keep talking to him, he starts mumbling about Master Lawrence, who's somebody else further in the lore, who was part of the healing church and like the beginning of all this. And he's like, please free me. And he's like, I'm so tired. And he just starts crying because he's in hell. Like, he's never getting out of there, and he's sick of it, right? Like, who knows how many hundreds of years he's been stuck in the hunter's dream, just guiding people. Like, so he wants out. So taking his place is not a good thing. Like, maybe that's the bad ending if we're being real. So that's what happens
right there.
Yeah, that's what happens if you don't do the extra step and then you fight him. Now the extra step is throughout the game you're going to encounter at least 3. I think there's 4. No, yeah, there's 3. 1/3 of an umbilical cord. Like you're gonna find a 1/3 of an umbilical cord, and its description says that it's the umbilical cord of a great one that was born. And basically, I think there's something in the description that like mentions consuming them. Some people say that they can help you be closer to God or whatever it might say. I don't remember, but yeah, you have to eat all 3 umbilical cords throughout your journey before you fight Gurman. And you can do it like right before you fight him, right before the boss. But as long as you consume them, and then beat him, then
That's
the
what
true
I call stem cell therapy.
yeah, the true ending happens after you defeat him, and you this is where you actually succeed in your mission of seeking pale blood. You find out that the moon itself, and they mention this several times in the game, the moon presence. The moon itself comes down, and it's a Cthulhu great one. It's called the moon presence. But that is pale blood. Pale blood has been the moon the whole time, and it's been just watching you. And you fight that in the same arena that you fought Gurman. And once you defeat that, you basically achieve the goals of all of the psychos in Yarnum. Like what they've been doing this whole time in their own different ways, whether it be through blood or through trying to collect eyes and give themselves literally more eyes. And so you see all these freaks with just eyes all over their heads. But you achieve what they've been trying to do this whole time, which is transcend humanity's like limits. It's almost like, getting your third eye, or becoming a great one, whatever that may mean, the unknowable truth about the universe. And so once you kill the moon presence, the cutscene again fades to black, fades back in, and the doll discovers you as a little slug squid thing, and she's like, "Oh, Hunter, it's good to see you," or whatever the hell, and she just takes care of you as a baby, great one. And so you've transcended everything, and you're on another plane of existence, and that's the happy ending. You're just this weird baby slug. So yeah.
So, okay. First ending is the wheelchair dude's name. I'm forgetting because he barely popped up in my game. Gurman. He kills you. You wake up. You don't remember everything. The quote unquote happiest ending. That's also the bad ending.
Yeah.
Second ending is you kill him and you inherit his curse. So you're stuck in the hunter's dream, forced to guide people for eternity. Basically hell.
Yeah.
The third ending is you eat the umbilical cords, you fight the cosmic entity that was disguising itself as the moon, the pale blood. And then you wake up, you are reincarnated as a slug baby, and you're taken care of by the doll. And what's the fourth ending?
No, that's it. That's the 3 endings.
Oh, I
the
thought you
ending
said
you
there was
got,
four.
I think, where you like don't finish the game.
Sorry, what? Well, the fourth ending.
Me, Ben, and Cris all got that ending then. Nice.
Yes. The fourth ending is you just give up. Yeah, you move on. I do think it's worth noting that, like, if you are a person who beats Bloodborne and really enjoyed it, but are like curious about even more of the story, it's not fully contained. Like this is a game where the DLC is required, or I think I would say it's required.
The old
the
Hunters,
DLC is
I believe.
phenomenal, huh?
The old Hunters, right? Or what's it called?
Yes, the old Hunters. And what that DLC, the way it presents like the rest of the story, where it fills in a lot of extra, like what happened to a lot of these characters you've been hearing about, is really interesting, because basically you find out the origin of all this shit, like where something so heinous was done to one of the great ones and their child, that it basically trapped everybody involved, like with all their guilt and all the horrible things they did, and so they're just stuck in this horrible, twisted version of Yarnum. And so,
Hell Dream, kind of like a Silent Hill almost.
yeah, exactly. And it's so good, dude. You find out some, like the doll, Gurman was obsessed. They don't really get explicit about it, but like whether it was like romantic or just, nah, I think it's probably romantic, let's be real. With one of the hunters that was part of his group, Lady Maria. And then Lady Maria is one of the bosses, and then you could totally miss it, but like her voice actress and her outfit are very, very similar to the doll that Gurman made. So he made a doll of his partner there, um, and and then it recontextualizes like at certain points in the main game when you go back to the hunter's dream. She's not where she's supposed to be. Instead, she's like praying at a grave, implying that the grave is Maria's grave. Like that's where she ended up. And you even find like a hair brooch that belonged to her, and you can go back to the doll and give it to her, and she starts getting emotional, but she doesn't know why. Good stuff. It's a really great shit there. But
Cool.
yeah, so there's in the DLC, there's it finishes off in this fishing hamlet, and it's like a
I thought you were gonna say fishing minigame.
yeah, there's all these people that are like fish people that are all praying, and they're praying in one direction, and as you're following it, well, also there's this great like, I forget, I don't know whose words they are, but like you hear this woman go like, curse the fiends and their children too, that they, for what they've done, you know, that they may suffer forever. And it's like, oh shit. And it's very creepy and very cool. But you like make your way through this fishing hamlet, and you come across a great one. And the thing about the great ones, that they're not, none of them are designed the same, other than the like lower tier amygdala dudes that are like hanging on all the buildings and stuff. Those all look the same, but like from the moon presence, and then this thing, I think there's Uden, which you never see. You always hear about, like you're at Uden's chapel. That's like the main first place you go to. Anyway, you see a dead great one that's washed up on shore, like a dead whale, and it's really freaky. It's like a white slimy thing, but it has like a woman's face. But it basically had it was pregnant, and so like you can kind of surmise that like this happened a long time ago for real. Like this is it's called the Hunter's Nightmare, but this is like a recreation of that. And basically this fishing village found this thing washed up on shore. They didn't know what it was, but they started worshiping it, and it started changing them. Like as they were consuming the fish they were catching, they became kind of fishy and fish people, but they worshipped this thing that washed up as a deity. But then like the hunters from Yarnum showed up and murdered everyone in the fishing village, and then they just like killed the I think the great one was already dead, but they killed its baby that was inside of it. And yeah, so anyways, that's the final boss.
Everything. Yeah.
The final boss is the baby. and,
Oh.
And it is the hardest boss in the whole game. Oh my god. It takes hours and hours of trying, but it's amazing. It's disgusting. Yeah. So anyways, Bloodborne. I don't know. Hopefully if you have any other questions, there's it's such a dense narrative, but that's the broad strokes of it.
Is the DLC baby different than that like wet nurse boss baby?
Well, you fight Margot's wet nurse, but there's no baby. You hear it crying in the background, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Right. And yeah, and then there's like a not a cradle. What is the stroller? I think.
Yeah, but you never see a baby. I think, and here's again where like Bloodborne is such a nebulous narrative that I can't speak with absolute certainty, but I believe the baby that you're hearing may be a miscarriage or a baby that, because like that's a thing you read a lot, is that like great ones dream of being parents, but the curse of them is that it never works. Like, so like Udin, like all of the women that you encounter throughout the game, most of them, I think all of them, and get pregnant as the game goes on. So like you have that the prostitute that you can save or send her to the chapel, she'll get pregnant. The lady that impersonates Iosefka, she gets pregnant. And they all have miscarriages, or they no, not sorry, not miscarriages. They give birth to these little fucking squid things, but they're not true great ones. They're like failures. That's what it is. My bad. But anyways, yeah. So with Murgo, the baby, I think it's more of a baby from the past because it was Lady Yarnum, the woman who the whole city was named after. That was her baby. So you're kind of like fighting the memories, or you're dealing with the memories of that. Because remember, like everything that you're doing in Yarnum isn't happening in the waking world. This is all happening in a dream. So I think time is a little like you're not like in the present necessarily. You're kind of fighting memories. I
So
think.
is the only, as far as what we like actually see, is the only waking world thing where you first go into that like clinic and I
Yeah,
don't think an intro
the
video.
opening cutscene where he's like, pale blood, well, blah blah blah, and then he's like, let's start the procedure. That's the real world, and then also when you get the bad ending and wake up, that's the real world also. Also, real world is maybe not accurate. It's the waking world, right? Like Bloodborne kind of suggests that the things that a normal human being sees is not the truth, right? Like as you gain literal insight, which is a game mechanic in your top right of your screen, gaining insight makes you see more of
That's
the
the
truth.
eyeball, right?
Yes. And it
Okay.
like literally if you spend all your insight at the store or like consume or like use it on abilities and stuff, then if you get but down to zero, you literally can't level up anymore because the doll is dead again. Right? So like you need insight to like see the truth both mechanically and narratively. Um and the more insight you have, the harder the game is because enemies become like freakier versions of themselves with more attacks and they're more vicious. So like it's kind of a double-edged sword there. I love that shit. It's so cool.
Oh, I didn't realize that so you sort of want to keep it near one so you can
Uh,
like
I
use
wouldn't worry.
use the
I wouldn't
store, but
worry. I wouldn't worry too much about it, but sure, yeah. Like the higher it is, it does make the game a little harder. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, because I that's also what you use to get your like the helpers at some of the boss fights, right?
Yes. Yeah. You spend it to summon people, and then you can spend it at that second fountain in the Hunter's Dream to get like weapons and items and stuff.
There's a second fountain?
Yeah, the one that's closer to the building and not at the bottom of the stairs. It's
We're
one
all
on like
learning
the
something
side of
new. Don't worry, Martin.
Yeah, I don't know. I
There's
don't know if I
another
found that second one.
one of my favorite fan theories. I guess you can call it a fan theory, but I think it just holds so much water that to me it's the truth. Is that the very core of Bloodborne that it was inspired by is like a true story that happened in Japan. I don't know when, but like basically he like went down the news story is this I want to say it's like the 50s 60s something, maybe earlier, probably way earlier honestly, but there was a fishing village, a real fishing village in Japan where the fishermen, people of the community, started to kind of lose their minds and they would get violent and like convulse and stuff out of horror movies. You know, it's kind of like behaving almost like the villagers in Bloodborne. And people started dying and sickness started spreading through the village. And ultimately what they discovered is that the fish was being poisoned by the factory nearby.
Mercury poisoning?
Yes, mercury, exactly. And yeah, so that inspires the fishing hamlet in Bloodborne. Not only that, but to help kind of make that theory even more rock solid. Um, Mercury um, is arguably what your bullets are made out of in Bloodborne, because you can sacrifice blood or your health. You can sacrifice your health to make bullets, and you literally like crush your hand to do it,
Mm.
because your blood is full of mercury, right? Um,
Okay.
and I don't know. I thought that theory was like the coolest thing I've ever heard. I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. But yeah.
No, thank you for sharing. I was probably gonna have to look up a lore video after this podcast, so now I don't have to.
Sure.
You are my lore video, Javi. That's all what I'm trying to say.
Awesome. Well, I'm just regurgitating what I can recall from hundreds of hours of other lore videos, but
Hey, that's how stories are told. They're retold by other people, and they go on. It's like a crazy game of telephone.
yeah, for sure. I mean, this is a game that this is kind of like what I always look for, or I'm hoping for when I, try any game where it's like, man, I hope I can get obsessed with this. I hope this is like one of my new favorite games ever, and I can just like fully obsess over this. And Bloodborne, I don't think I've had a game like that. Oh, maybe Death Stranding, but like, um, I haven't had a game like that in a long time where I was like, I'm gonna beat this game, but that's just the beginning. Like now let's go again. Let's do all the trophies. Let's do all the chalice dungeons to completion. Like the chalice dungeons are tough. and and yeah, the DLC, and then it's like I want to really understand all these everything, and you want to look at all the item descriptions and try to like wring out any kind of like story connective tissue that you can from just you got to infer from like why things have certain things in their descriptions. You got to like look at like the spaces you're in and how they were used and what they mean and all this, and it's just like it's so rewarding. It's such a fulfilling thing. um but yeah, I love Bloodborne. It's great.
Sweet. And yeah, no. So, I mean, I know. I wanted to quickly talk about kind of Chris's kind of personal history with Soulsborne. Like on paper, I believe you said you should like them, but it's been hard for you to kind of get into them. So I mean, like you've spent years listening to like Jeff rave about like a lot of Soulsborns, and I think part of you wants to be able to feel Jeff play, but you just can't get into the games.
Yeah, I mean everything about them should click for me, right? Like it's like awesome artwork in a dark fantasy setting for the most part. I think what Sekiro isn't that, but even that is like Japanese, Chinese like visuals. So like it all speaks to me on that level, and then I get to playing it, and it's like it does not click
Mm.
ever. I thought that maybe with Bloodborne, because we talked about it when we voted on it, like you have to be a little more aggressive than in like Dark Souls or Elden Ring. I was like, maybe I could play it more like a regular kind of action game. Maybe the aggressiveness works for it for me, and I think I was worse. Like, just like I I don't know. I just have a mental block when it comes to these games. Like I can sit down and play like a game like Celeste with like like no need for like accessibility features or anything, and make my way through that. But like these games, I don't know, I just have a mental block where it doesn't work for me. I can't figure it out. I don't know why.
Primarily, because From Software has its own DNA fingerprint. You can tell it's a From Software game. Do you think it's From Software, or do you feel like it's the difficulty that kind of impedes you from being able to get into their games?
I don't know. It's this type of game because I also tried Liza P when that came out, and again, beautiful, wonderfully visualized world that they've created. It's dark. It's like right up my alley, and I did a little better with it than I do with the Soulsborne games from FromSoft, but not much. Like I just hit a point where it's like this. I'm not good at these games. I love everything about them, and I probably will go and watch a bunch of lore videos that on Bloodborne because it's an awesome world. There's like so much cool there, and I want to see all the artwork and I want to see like everything that's there. But I can't play these at all. And I've done it with people. Like I played. Like Jeff has jumped into Elden Ring with me, and
Yeah.
I'm still awful. Like
I think one of the things, because I've been having my friend play a lot of my favorite games lately, and I think one of the things that because he hates Souls games. One of the things is that he just doesn't like losing. Like if he,
yeah, that might be it.
yeah, like it's one of those things where like you need to be totally comfortable with like I'm gonna be retrying this until I beat it, right?
Yeah.
And that might take all night. You might have to finish it the next day or the next day, right? But with the Souls games and how FromSoft's like game design works is it can be really tough for people to like enjoy because it's kind of when you do an input, you're committing to that whole animation. Like with Devil May Cry or God of War or any other action game, typically there's a way to interrupt what you just started. And FromSoft games are like, no, you pressed like heavy attack, you're doing the heavy attack the whole way, and you're gonna take the damage. You're gonna be punished for it if it was the wrong call. And so it is like a kind of an exercise in both patience and being quick at the same time. I think if I were to give any advice, if to somebody who's like kind of having a hard time, is like the term downloading. You want to download the enemies, right? So like really just observe them. What do they even do? And then think about the tools you have to respond and work from there. Because it's a lot of it is like don't just go in there and just start pressing R1, R1, R1 and just hope for the best. Sometimes that will work, but like until you get like a good feel for like running around, dodging, what usually will keep you safe. You kind of just need to like get a baseline of like what is the challenge in front of you. So I don't know, but yeah, that's I understand like playing through all this game is a tall order on its face. And you mentioned Celeste, and I think what Celeste does really great is no matter how difficult the challenge is, you die and you're instantly back to the beginning of the challenge. Like you're just there's no salty run backs. You're not running all the way back to try again.
Yeah, that was something. Sorry, Ben. I just want to get one point out. That was something people were talking about in regards to Silk Song. Kind of just like the run back. Sometimes for some people that was infuriating. They just wanted to be able to keep doing the boss over and over again and having to kind of go back through like a horde of enemies and kind of cut your way through.
Yeah.
Bugs that. But you were saying, Ben?
Yeah, I think that's my thing with this game. I got a good 6-7 hours into it and enjoyed it, but I don't think it clicked with me as much as like Elden Ring did, because Elden Ring doesn't really have those like runbacks. Like Elden
Yeah.
Ring pretty much puts a checkpoint right in front of the boss fight pretty much every single time. And I respected Elden Ring for that, and I think the whole concept of like dying to a boss over and over again, like that doesn't bug me if I can just start over.
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of a thing with Bloodborne, because I got to the Father Gascoigne fight, and I was having a hard time with it at first, and every time you die, I had to do the run back, and then I eventually found the shortcut and all that stuff. And like that fight is like a good example of like you kind of have to learn the mechanics of it. Like that fight, like the whole like parry system, or where you have to
Yeah.
like do the gun parry thing.
Mhm.
And I got that eventually, but on my like sixth or seventh time, and then I was then I could get through it. But it was the whole run back part of that, where like I had to run all the way back to the boss to give it another shot.
And
That
did you bring
always
the elevator back up, or you have to wait for it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and then there's the weird like the bridge that you have to cross with the huge fireball that guy sends down and all that stuff. And yeah, like, eventually you get the order of it, and I knew how to do it, to get through it as minimally as I could. But yeah, that run back is always what annoys me about non-Elden Ring FromSoft stuff.
Sure.
And yeah, I mean, like granted, we're playing a game that is now, almost a decade old. The genre has evolved in some sense, like be it Elden Ring or I think last year another Treasure came out, and that was like I just was so much more engaged in another Crab's Treasure. I liked that world so much more, and I was just like gripped by the story. And I was the same with Elden Ring, and I didn't have that like drive to keep coming back to Bloodborne. It was something like I would come back to and be like, oh, I've got some time to kill. Maybe I'll put on like a podcast, but I feel like and I know Javi's probably like wincing, like you're missing the atmosphere, the music. No, but
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't have that drive with the game, and like I was saying, I said before you hopped on, I think it was due to kind of lack of direction. I didn't have that narrative kind of direction, narrative pull. So sometimes, like, I would just be like, "Oh, I found a new area," and then I would chase it down and get to a dead end, and I would be like, "Okay, now what?" And sometimes I would get stuck, and I just, especially with these games, I don't want like having to use a guide unless I have to, because self discovery is like one of the best parts of Soulsborne's, kind of like Metroidvanias.
Yeah. I don't know how many of you have heard like Miyazaki describe his like design philosophy with regards to like storytelling in these games, but like
The one
um
where I forget the terminology, but like he gives breaks, like time for the audience to breathe. So like when the heightened moments come, you're straddled in, so to speak.
hmm. Well, actually, I haven't heard that one, but I was more specifically, I was talking about how like when he was young, he had access to like books in English, and he could barely read English. Like he knew some words, but he definitely wasn't fluent. So he would read these fantasy novels, and he would pick up what he could understand, but he had to like really work to like infer the in between and like kind of construct the story. He's like, so he would say like the story's all there, but what I can understand is not. And like I had to, it was almost like a puzzle game, or it was like an exercise for his mind to try to figure out what exactly it's saying. And so I don't know about the other Souls games because I'm not like super into them, but with Bloodborne, that design philosophy is there, right? Like everything that I just told you guys about the story of Bloodborne, none of that is explicitly written anywhere. You have to infer it from the world, from what characters say, from item descriptions. you're reading what you can, like the words that it provides to you, but you need to infer what the hell is happening and what's going on, right? And I just think that's such a beautiful idea. What a cool thing to like implement. And I think it was implemented really beautifully, but it does allow most or a lot of players to fall through the cracks, right? It's kind of a, that's the nature of it, I guess. But anyways, I thought that was interesting. Like when he described that, I'm like, oh, that's exactly what you did. Wow. Huh. Okay. Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, no, obviously, I'm glad Soulsborne's exist. I feel like I feel like it's an outlet for a lot of different people, and like I want to speaking of Liza P, which came up earlier, I want to give that a shot because that sounds like a Pinocchio, like a dark Pinocchio, like fantasy with some like Soulsborne elements. That's awesome. I guess I'm unlike somebody like Jeff from the Perfectly Saint show. I guess narrative comes first to me in games, even if it's not always games. The game's feature. Ultimately, gameplay is kind of like good gameplay defines a good game, and a bad you can have a good narrative and bad gameplay, and of course the bad gameplay is gonna override itself. And I think there's a lot to dig into here, and I think it was interesting because with the Soulsborne games, like a lot of the narrative stuff you get is from like the loading screens, kind of reading the descriptions on the items.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of like going forward, I'm wondering how they're going to convey kind of that world building as kind of, I mean, hopefully load times get like less and less.
Well, before that was added after the fact. When Bloodborne launched, not only were load times on the PS3 like 2 to 3 times longer, so like every time you died, you'd have to wait quite a while to get back. But the load screen was just a black screen with the Bloodborne logo. So you're just looking at Bloodborne for like a minute.
Oh,
It was
okay,
horrible.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so they eventually improved the load times and added just item descriptions instead.
Are those descriptions in the game, Javi? Like you could
Yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah.
Those are actually the descriptions of the items.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like you could go to your inventory and read the descriptions and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all there, Dax. You just have to go look for it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, you just
something I
highlight an
wanna
item and you have an alternate like view of it, or I think it's like select or something. I don't remember.
something I wanted to add in regards to Liza P for you, Dax, is you're really not going to get that much more narrative out of that game. It's not as sort of nebulous as Bloodborne is, but there still isn't like a lot there. What you do get is it's a lot easier to know where you need to go. It's pretty clear about that. You get the same quality of life update with, and here's a little save point right outside the boss, so you don't have to do those run backs. And it's easier. It's just so much easier.
I think Liza P is pretty generous with its story. Like you always like it's telling you, what happened with the rebellion of the robots, and then what's
like, you know what
I
you're
don't know.
doing. There's still just not a lot there. Is the thing.
Yeah, it's look. I Blood or Liza P was one of my favorite games in a long time too. So like I'll stand for Liza P all day. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess the characters don't say much. It is very soulsy in that way. Like you go back to home base and you can talk to them. But I think if we're talking like comparing it side by side to Bloodborne, it's Liza P is not trying to hide the story at all. It's very there you
Yeah,
go.
you could definitely read like
Yeah.
descriptions and things you pick up to find out like what happened. But if you're just sort of like, I'm just taking what the game's like throwing at me, it's like, yep, it's enough for you to know what's going on and what's happening, but like it's not going to
Yeah.
be a bunch. You're not going to watch a lot of cutscenes or anything like that. There's just it's minimal. There are still, cutscenes. You're getting a lot more on that front. Just
I mean,
still
yeah,
not a
you have to
ton.
do You have to do your due diligence to like understand what's happening. Like you got to talk to the characters, and they're not always the most interesting. Like you're just like looking at a character standing in the home base, just saying shit at you. But story's there.
Hmm.
You should play Lies of P. It's great.
Yeah, I so that's the thing. For me, I played Lies of P before Bloodborne.
Yeah.
So you know, Bloodborne felt like a struggle in a lot of ways where Lies of P just it was more kind to me in my play style. So I was more able to like, yep, all right, I just gotta do this thing, and I'm not quite strong enough to do this fight. You just do a little bit of grinding, and then you are strong enough. While with Bloodborne, there's still that grind option. Uh, it it didn't feel as much of a cheat code, at least unless you're gonna really grind it out as it was in Lies of P, where Lies of P was like, oh yeah, just a couple more levels, and then like I'll definitely be able to do this boss, because there was enough times where it's like, yeah, like I could tank that 1 or 2 hits, and like that's okay from that combo. I didn't quite learn it completely, but I'll be okay. Bloodborne, I was fighting that blood-starved beast. I was like, oh no, if I didn't learn it, I'm done. I'm out of here. Like it's over for me.
Yeah,
I
think
don't
even
know if I had the same experience because I definitely like on Lies of P, the swamp creature, the one that like takes the body of one of the earlier bosses and like becomes it in a way. Do you know what I'm talking about in the junkyard?
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing was my brick wall where like I was fighting that boss again and again and again for like 3 days straight. It was it was miserable, but I mean I look back on it really fondly. Like, man, what a fucking pain in the ass, but like I did it, and no amount of leveling up would have helped me get over that. It was just I got phase 1 down pat where I could just do phase 1 without getting hit once, like just flawlessly, and then I get to phase 2 and just die over and over. But yeah, I don't know. I think both games are also just a matter of downloading the enemy, right? Like you can level up all day, you can be max level and beyond, but nothing's going to be easy necessarily, right? It'll help you do a little bit. You'll do a little bit more damage to their health bar, and it'll take a little bit less damage. But like, fundamentally, you need to like understand what they're about to do and how to respond.
Yeah, like that Father Gascoigne fight. I was the first couple times I was playing it, I was just like playing it the way I normally do, and then when I finally got the whole parry mechanic, and you see how much damage you do when you parry him, and like actually get the timing right on that, I'm like, okay, that's how you do this fight. I get it now.
Yeah, and ideally you get addicted to it. Like with Liza P, also like I'm a parry sicko, like a parry junkie. I'm like, dude, I want to parry everything. I'm gonna get that timing down, even if dodging or anything else would be an easier strategy. It's like, no, I want to see those red sparks. I want to hear that loud like reward sound when you successfully do it. Like that's what I live for.
So then, did you gravitate towards Sekiro?
Yeah, that's a great question. Sekiro is one that I fully intend to get back to and like really see through. But no, I got I don't know how many of you are familiar with all of Sekiro, but I got so the big monkey with the parasite in its brain. I beat that, and then I got to where you fight two of them at the same time, and then I beat that, and then that's about where I stopped. So I don't know how far into the game that is, but
Well, I played about half an hour, got my ass kicked by not being able to parry, and said, I guess this one's not for me, and I've never come back. So I couldn't help you.
Yeah. I mean, it like given what I just said about parrying, like that game should be my favorite thing ever. But I definitely intend to go back to it at some point. But yeah, I wasn't in the mood for it, and I wasn't really vibing with it. And I think the next challenge in front of me at the time was just it was some ghost person, and I didn't understand what I needed to do, and then I just moved on. I think another big thing that carried me through Bloodborne and why I hold it in such high regard is, I think Daxter was saying that Another Crab's Treasure's world is more appealing, and I do actually think that like a cartoony world like that is appealing. But Bloodborne, the gothic horror, the Victorian just darkness, and everything's wet, and the leather and the boots on stone and all that, like it's so good. It's like one of my favorite things. Yeah, that's the aesthetic.
Why am I forgetting the name of Cthulhu's creator, the racist guy? Lovecraftian. There we go. Yeah. I mean, like, just Lovecraft in and of itself, like, despite its kind of quote unquote problematic origins or creator, after you separate the art from the artist, like, it is a very just like, I feel like there's not a lot else out there like it, and it's a very compelling environment, and I feel like there's the reason why multiple games kind of keep using it. And I think Bloodborne, like, aesthetic wise, it sets like an atmosphere, a mood. It looks even 10 years later, it looks amazing. I mean, like, I feel like, Bloodborne is a great game. It just didn't grab me personally, even though I did have some fun with it.
Well, what's cool about Bloodborne too, though, is like when I think about Bloodborne, the Lovecraftian angle on it is an incredibly important piece of it, but that is not what I usually like. That's not the first thing that I celebrate about it necessarily.
No, and I mean, it's not like it ripped Lovecraft lore straight. I'm just saying, kind of, it was an inspiration, kind of.
Oh no.
Aesthetic.
I mean, you're dead on. Like, Bloodborne is the thing is Bloodborne is a marriage of Lovecraft and like Castlevania. Like I would love FromSoft to do Castlevania, to be honest. And I saw a lot of reviews back in the day of Bloodborne saying like, or even like video essays saying that like, at first this game seems like kind of a hokey, it's werewolves, and it's like your typical like Halloween trimmings, and it's like, it's just like Universal monster crap that's kind of like cheesy, but then it takes the twist into Lovecraft and all this. And I think that framing it that way is I disagree. I actually love if like The Order 1886. I love The Order. I think that game's fucking awesome. I think it's like really short. It definitely has all the problems that people have with it, but the subject matter and the tone and the setting carries it for me. Like, I love a world that takes like it's like this dark, horrible place that's cursed with like werewolves and vampires and all that stuff. Like, I like, if that was all that Bloodborne was, I would still love it just as much. What I like even more so is that it takes that it takes that as like the starting point. You think you understand. It's like, I'm just a hunter and I'm killing monsters. These people have turned into monsters, and that's what most people understand Bloodborne to be, right? And then when you find out that you start pulling on that thread and you see how complex it is, and it's like, what is creating these monsters? Where did they get this blood? Oh, it's from a great one that they found underground below the city. What is a great one? And it's like, why would they start distributing this blood? They made a church, and then the church and you just start like seeing like, there's like these scholars, and there was a conflict between
rabbit hole you can go down.
Yeah, and it becomes cosmic. It becomes beyond the understanding of man, and to
Isn't
know
that
it
what
will drive
Lovecraft
you
is
nuts.
defined as? A cosmic
Yes,
horror? Yeah.
yes, exactly.
Okay.
Literally, there are bosses in Bloodborne that open the cosmos, and like asteroids come out of space. You know, like there's these enemies called living failures, and they're like an attempt to like turn people into aliens. You know, and it's all intentional. Uh, so good, so good. But anyways, I don't know how we got here, but
No,
Bloodborne, man.
that's fine. Obviously this is a game that means a lot to you, and honestly, just hearing your passion, it's something I'm fascinated by, even if I can get into it as much myself. But
Mhm.
I did want to kind of check in with Ben. I know kind of you said kind of getting down like the pairing mechanic with the Father Gaston fight was kind of one of the turning points in the game where you're just like, I don't know if this is for me. Did you have any other like thoughts about the game you wanted to contribute?
Yeah, I mean, I think I ultimately didn't finish the game. I got, I don't know, 6, 7 hours into it. It's, I think it's one of the things that I would have, you know, because I did really get into Elden Ring. Elden Ring is, the one, really the only FromSoft game I ever really clicked with, and I think a lot of it is because Elden Ring doesn't have a lot of the more annoying stuff that was at one point kind of staples of FromSoft stuff, like the runbacks, like things like that. Elden Ring kind of simplifies a lot of the formula bit, or at least modernizes it to an extent. And I think going back to that in Bloodborne was, not enough for me to kind of get over that hump. But I do get it. Like I see, like I think, kind of like what everyone has said is like the aesthetic of the game is incredible. I think the combat itself is actually really good. Um, you know, you know, in a different time or a different, you know, different time period, I think I probably would have sat down and really hopefully clicked with the combat. I went with the I guess Saw Cleaver is the starting weapon I went with because I just
Mm.
searched to see what's the easiest and best one, and like that thing's really good and really cool. Like as far as you can like switch it between the two modes, and like one is slower but has more reach, the other is quicker but
Yeah,
doesn't
that's my favorite.
yeah, like that's like a really cool and clever mechanic, and I think it like works really well, and like I was enjoying the combat and like the whole parry mechanic and all that stuff. I think it's just a lot of the more old school level design and stuff like that that kind of held me back from really putting a lot of progress in it essentially.
Mhm.
Oh, I completely get where you're coming from on that front. Yeah, I went with
Did
the axe
anybody?
myself, and I didn't really see much. Like I got 15 plus hours in. I didn't really have a reason to switch off that axe. The axe felt good to me.
Yeah, I mean, I rocked the saw cleaver the whole way through almost every single time I play the game. I actually, that's like a thing that I would like to try to change in future playthroughs. Is like, I've done this too many times. That I want to see what other weapons have to offer because there's a lot of weapons in Bloodborne. I mean, maybe not compared to other Souls games, and definitely not Elden Ring, but there's more variety than just the saw cleaver, or even just the three starting weapons.
Oh yeah, no, there's like the electric like mace weapon that I picked up, and I'm like, oh, this seems cool. But then
To
I was just like, I've
nitrous.
invested so much into this axe.
Yeah, I mean, so every playthrough you get an upgrade material that is the final upgrade material. I think it's like a called like a blood chunk or whatever it is. It's like this big block of crystallized blood, and you can only get it once on each playthrough. So you get to decide which weapon gets the final upgrade. Um, and I've always obviously done the saw cleaver, but I think they balanced it pretty well. Where like you can get pretty far into the game, and you'll be drowning in upgrade materials for other weapons. So like you don't have to be like, well, I put everything into this one. You can actually bring up another one to about the same level. But yeah, I'm curious though. Out of all of you, did anybody roll credits?
I did because I respect you, Javi.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. What ending?
Just the one where you beat Gehrman because I didn't have all the umbilical cord bits.
I see. Cool. What were your thoughts after finishing?
I mean, it was one of those things where you know how sometimes you have a problem and you beat your head against the wall with it, you can't make any progress, and you're just like, this sucks. And then you come back the next day and it's all solved. That's how my German fight went at the very end. It was I played for like 2 hours one night and just couldn't do anything. And then the next time I'm gonna beat up a couple pigs and I'm gonna kill German, and then sure enough I did that and beat him on like the second attempt. And it was just one of those things where it's like, what? I should have just stopped earlier, like the night before. Like, what was this so hard before?
Yeah.
And you know, there's a lot of bosses in the game that sort of give you that feeling of, I don't know why it was so hard. And there's some enemies, like oftentimes the hunters themselves, who gave me more problems than the bosses, and I was just like, this is ridiculous. Why are they so hard?
Yeah.
But I dug it. I had similar to Dax that problem of like, I don't know where to go, and that's why I would keep asking like, I did this thing, but like I can't see where it wants me to go next, and like that one bit with the upgrade where it's like the game just wasn't clear to me of like, oh yeah, here's this mechanic that's like available to you now, and this is where you go to do it. It requires so much exploration that I personally was just like, you combine that with the walkbacks and just sort of the hostility of the world, and it does create like a lot more friction than maybe I would like. But the game does give you a really good sense of satisfaction when you like beat it. And it feels I'm also pretty unfamiliar with like the older Souls games, but I didn't really feel like there were many like unfair moments where like, oh, and there's just this enemy and it's instant death because you didn't know it was there. Like they hid enemies around the world, but they were never like that just in your face and you're done. So I appreciated that. Maybe they learned a little bit. They backed off of some of that stuff because it's just sort of
it gave you opportunities for a second chance. I mean, even down to
Right.
like, Chris was saying, like, you can play more aggressively because like if you take damage, you've got like there's like a yellow bar in your health, and if you strike back at the enemy, you can recover that health almost instantaneously. And then you're also carrying around like 20 blood vials, and you have the opportunity to increase those at some point. So I feel like that also kind of helps with frustration, and I feel like that's might be the reason why a lot of people really dug Bloodborne at the time, because it was maybe not more forgiving, but it was more fair than Dark Souls, at least seemed on the surface.
What
Well,
is it, the blood vials in that second fountain? Because I stayed at 20. I don't remember seeing where that upgrade would have
you
been.
can buy blood
Once
vials in
you
the
get
first
the
fountain next
what
to
is
the
it,
dome.
the relic thing from when you take down the witches, the twin witches?
Yeah,
Ooh.
the Hemwick, the witches of Hemwick. What
I thought
about
it was
that?
just one witch in that little cave near the.
You
There's
might
a
not
second
have.
one that pops
This
up
is a missable
afterwards.
boss. If you didn't go down there, you might not have. Did you encounter my favorite place in the game? Oh God, the home of the Vile Bloods. What the hell is it called? Castle. Fuck. Hold on. Why am I blanking on this? Bloodborne. I'm searching. Bloodborne. Castle. Canehurst Castle. Did you go there?
Brother, if you didn't remember the name, I wouldn't remember the name.
Well,
Can
I
you
mean,
describe like a boss or an enemy for
I
the
say
Marcus?
I mean, there's the queen of the Vile Bloods up top. She's sitting on a throne.
I'm gonna say no then, because that doesn't sound right.
Dude,
Like a thing I
you
saw.
need to load your game up and go back.
Pick up those sticks.
Castle Canehurst is the fucking coolest thing in the game, and it's entirely missable because like you said, it is vague as hell, and who would do that? But it like the cutscene like is a 1-to-1 recreation from Dracula. A
And
unmanned
Symphony of the Night.
uh Symphony of the Night. No. Well, like both Dracula and Nosferatu, the new one that came out last
Oh, okay,
year.
that's what you meant. Sorry, I thought you were talking about like the throne scene and like Sympathy of Night, like what are men but
Oh.
a miserable pile of yeah.
No. So to get to Canehurst Castle, you have to go to a certain area. It's not really marked. There's a giant gravestone that's kind of like knocked over or like tilting. But you go there with the summons. I'm sure you've collected the summons and probably didn't know what it was. But there's a Canehurst summons. You should check your inventory. But yeah, you go to the thing and it starts a cutscene, and it's just like both Nosferatu and Dracula. I kind of want to have my friend play that part and then queue up both movies so he can watch it because it's very cool. Because an unmanned carriage comes and you get inside of it, and then you ride off into the fog, and then you come across this giant, like Castlevania ass fucking castle with all the spikes and shit, and it's out in the snow. It's like the coolest area in the whole freaking game, and it's totally you rolled credits and you don't know this exists, and it makes me very sad. You need to go back.
I'm curious, Javi, did you make your wife play this game?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
How did she like it?
You want to know something crazy? I prepared her, so I equipped her so well with game mechanic knowledge that she got to Gascoigne and beat him first try. I couldn't believe my eyes, dude. I was like, what the fuck? You just beat him? I did not expect it at all, but it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. That was like during the chaos of like in between moving from our previous home to here, and she was like super into it, but we just never got back to it. And it's kind of tragic because I think she would have gone all the way, to be honest.
Fair enough, but at least we had a good time with it. So
yeah.
And then and then Javi, sorry to cut you off. I was going to go ahead and get everybody's closing thoughts because Marcus wanted to do like a cool thing at the end where we just do a quick like top 10 list, or 10 games from the past year that we really enjoyed. So I wanted to give time for that, so we don't this episode isn't too long.
Does anybody have like an easy to find or look at list of all the games sorry, this is just like games we played, not
Yep.
games from the podcast.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's like Game Informer has like I reviewed it when I was doing it, like 2025 release calendar, and you can like scan through that.
But it doesn't
But
have to
again-
be 2025 games, Javi.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
Just anything you played last year.
Okay.
But yeah,
10
no,
too
I
much?
did.
Should we do 5? 10's a lot.
You can do as many as you like, but
Yeah,
I've got 10.
I came up with a list of 10. I needed 10.
Okay.
Like,
Alright.
but yeah, I guess I feel like everybody's given their closing thoughts on the game. But like Ben, Cris, did y'all want to add anything on top of what you've already said?
I like that these games exist. They're not for me. That's okay. Like that's fine.
It's the same with God of War for me. I can't get into the God of War games, but I'm glad people like them.
Yeah.
Either one.
And
Like
yeah,
either the old
both
ones or the new ones?
iterations.
or no,
Yeah,
gotcha.
none. I like watching people play these games too because it's super impressive. Like when like people are really good at these, like it's insane. I'm just
especially
like,
speedrunners.
I can't do any of that. Like, it's like
Yeah,
it's
it's
neat to watch.
Yeah, for me, I mean, same thing is like this, on a different day, maybe this game would have been for me. Elden Ring was. This one didn't quite click. I think some
You think
of
maybe if you'd played it back in 2015, 2016, you might have been more partial to it?
maybe, I don't know. I've tried stuff like Dark
Hypothetical
Souls
situation, but
and things like that, but yeah, I don't. For some reason, Elden Ring was the one that did click for me, and I think the more old school nature of this one, not quite. I mean, I would like to, everything about it, like the aesthetic, the story, the on the combat itself, honestly, is all really good and something I would like. I think it's just kind of the more old school design here and there that kind of harkens it here and there. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, I'm glad I finally gave it a shot, I guess.
Hey, I think the right place, the right time, the right mindset, you could fall in love. But that time is not right now.
Yeah, maybe.
No,
I
and
mean,
kind of having that
I
community
into Elden Ring.
aspect, like people to talk about it with, I think that does help tremendously with these types of games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
And then, Marcus, did you have any closing thoughts?
No, I'm pretty squared away. I think I was happy that I was able to go back and make time for Bloodborne since it is so highly regarded. It's definitely one of those things where like I get the appeal, I get the challenge, I like I enjoyed that, but I'm a little baby gamer, and I like my games to be a little bit easier on me, just to wind down and relax. So most of the time, like I'm not going to default to games like this, and it's the sort of game that like has me saying, I don't think I'm gonna go and play Elden Ring because like isn't that like 5 times as long?
It's pretty damn long, but I feel like it is a bit more accessible, as Ben said.
Definitely.
Yeah, in some
It's
ways. In some
open
ways.
world. Yeah. Being able to like go like, oh, I mean, that's again back to my friend who doesn't like to lose. And it was, dude, it's such a like frustrating experience for somebody like me to watch him play Elden Ring, because it's like he fights a boss, he loses, and he goes, I'm not strong enough to fight this. I'm going elsewhere. And my instincts would be like, well, try it again. Try it again. Like you're just not doing it right, like I'm like, get good enough to fucking beat, because people beat these games without leveling up at all, because they're designed in a way where like if you're good enough you won't get touched, you know and so, but some people are just like, nah, I want it to be easy street. And if this pushed back a little bit, and I'm not into that, so I'm going elsewhere. So yeah, Elden Ring does support that kind of playstyle.
Different strokes, but I get where
Yeah.
you're coming from. I think people over exaggerate the difficulty of these games. Not to say they aren't difficult. I'm just saying they're achievable if you put your mind to it, if you
Sure.
if you grind a little, or if you look up strategies. But yeah, some people don't want to do that, and that's fine.
There's a there's an old, and it's old, IGN clip from one of their podcasts where Brian Altano was talking about Bloodborne, and I think the title of the video is like how I almost quit my favorite game. And I was gonna share that clip, but like it's such an old IGN clip that like I just don't love the way that people used to speak, and I'm like, nah, I'm not sharing that. But at the heart of it, he talks about how it was the opening area in Yarnum, and just like he was just throwing himself at this game and just kept. He would get a little bit further, but then he'd get killed, and he'd get killed, and then he ran into a boss, and it killed like the cleric beast, and it just kills him. And he's like, "Dude, this game is just not like." He's like, "I love the look of it, I love the vibe and all this stuff, but like, I can't do this. Like, this is just not a game for me. I can't keep doing this. I'm not having fun. I'm getting frustrated." And he's like, I'd say that in the community, he's like, no man, you just got to get over that hurdle, this is that. And he's like, I don't know. And then he's like, and then one night I just decided to focus on leveling up, and then focus on this and that. And he's like, I think he was saying like once he got his first insight and he could level up, and then he was able to give himself a little bit of an edge there, and then he discovered a shortcut and this and that, and it just started snowballing. So I went from like absolute defeat, like he was defeated and not interested in continuing, to like he just made it over that hump to where like he began to understand, and he went back to that cleric beast, and he beat its ass, and he's like, "Oh my god, I feel amazing!" And then he got to Gascoigne, and he just destroyed him. And he's like, "Suddenly, I'm unstoppable." And he's like, "Yarnum is my bitch," and like and all this. And he's like, it was such a turn. And he's like, "I'm so grateful that people encourage me to like not give up and to like persevere." But that being said, it's totally fine to give up or it's totally fine to be like, "I don't like this. I'm not having fun."
No, but because of kind of the way Soulsbornes are, like when you do beat them or you beat a certain boss, it can be highly rewarding, and it's kind of hard to match that sense of like reward, that satisfaction. And there's something that only games kind of like this, I think, can provide. Not to say that other games can't provide satisfaction, just kind of like climbing the mountain, and then just kind of, even if you have to climb higher, just seeing that view and just being like, I did it.
Yeah,
There's something to be said about that.
100%.
But yeah, that is Bloodborne. And then before we get into our top fives, top tens, whatever Javi and everybody else wants to do, I did want to quickly go ahead and do Ben's picks for next time.
Or me, my pick?
Or no, sorry, it's Chris's. My bad. Sorry, I got it confused. I was remembering the list. Blah.
Yep. So I'm gonna type them into the chat here. You can all vote on them.
But Ben, you can give us a sneak peek as well.
No, he went last time. He's good. Yeah, he's good until the spring or summer.
Super Mario RPG.
Now we see Final Fantasy in the list of choices.
That's
the whole franchise.
First one. Yep.
Oh,
I said the whole franchise. Yes, play the whole franchise. We'll record in about 18 months.
Even the Game Boy Color games? No. What is it? What's the one on Game Boy Color, or the original Game Boy? It was like Final Fantasy Legends?
Yeah, which is not a Final Fantasy game. I know it's confusing. It's there's a different series that it's related to. It's a saga game.
And then it's just these four?
What was that?
It's just these four, correct? Final Fantasy,
Yep,
Super Mario
those four.
RPG, Final Fantasy Tactics, and Shenmue.
Yep.
Okay.
Let me vote.
And we're allowed to vote twice, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. I am the chili pepper and the dress.
Oh no, we have a tie. Oh no, we don't.
Yeah, I got the Ivorance Chronicles, or whatever the title of the remake that came out recently is, for Christmas. So this is a good opportunity for me to play the game.
Yeah, so I mean, like, if you don't have that, and you can play the original, that's fine too.
I can send you my
there's
PSP copy if anybody wants that.
the PSP version, like that just like the first version, like the whatever the remake.
Not the Game Boy
remaster.
Advance one is a different game. I think.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's A2's the DS one, and I think it's just the Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. It's the GBA one that opens with the snowball fight.
What if I played Disgaea instead?
Be a weird conversation, but okay.
There are
Super Mario RPG is pretty great too. I just played that. I played that when it got when the re-release came out. What was that, back in 2023?
Yeah, so I picked all these. Well, Final Fantasy I play every year, the first one. So it was just like, hey, like the other three I've started in the last year but haven't finished. So it was like, let's hit the backlog. Let's
Yeah.
No, and like I recently played the original Final Fantasy, and granted, I've got nostalgia from playing the GBA version of that back in the day, but I think it still holds up. It's a pretty solid RPG for an NES game.
Yeah.
And while 4 and 6 or 2 and 3, whatever time period you come from, are improve upon it in so many different ways. There's a unique charm to the first one.
Yeah. Looks like Final Fantasy Tactics. Is it though?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
Cool. All
have
right.
that.
So for this next episode, we will be playing Final Fantasy Tactics. I am really looking forward to this. So thank you for giving me an excuse, Chris. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
Be a ways out. I did not realize how long that game was. Wow.
Yeah, and I
35
mean,
to
like,
40 hours
it's
is
like
what
with
I'm
Bloodborne,
saying.
you don't have to finish it, but I mean, like, it's a pretty solid story
What-
from what I understand. There's like people quote that game like 25 plus years later. I see quotes about it all the time.
I think we'll do a check-in in like a month and see where everybody's at, and if you guys are comfortable talking about it, then we can do it. If not, we can push a little bit.
Am I buying the deluxe edition? What is on
You
this?
don't
one?
have to, but you
No.
can.
What the
I think
English
it-
Chronicles?
I think that comes with like a soundtrack, Kavi.
Oh,
Like
I don't want that.
I don't think there's like extra content though. Like,
I ain't listening to no music.
I mean, it's a great soundtrack. So don't get me wrong. Like, but
Alright.
yeah, I don't think it's like, oh, you're gonna get like extra levels or anything. Like, it's
All
not.
right. This
not
is
any
gonna
game.
be a Steam Deck delight. I'm gonna love playing
Oh,
this on there.
Yep, that's
And then-
I'm playing it handheld too. Yes.
Let's go.
Chris, I was gonna ask. I know in the past for the Perfectly Sane show, you've done you've done like kind of like a Game of the Year episode, kind of structured by how Giant Bomb or Bexlander kind of does their podcast. Are you still doing that this year or no?
Yeah. It'll be our next episode. So anybody listening, this Perfectly Sane show stopped doing weekly. We're due every other week now. So we just did like a
Going
recap
for like 12 plus
episode.
years. I understand.
This is our 17th year actually.
Wow.
Whoa.
So and
Dedication.
yeah, it's been a long run, and it was just like, but I did notice over the last year or so that we're having some trouble with games that we're talking about, because we're just, not that we're not playing them, it's just like we're not playing new games all the time, and so spreading it out, giving us a couple weeks, gives us a little more to talk about.
Okay, so yeah, in that case, like, I'll leave it up to you whether you want to discuss your top 10 or save it
Oh
for
yeah,
that.
no, this will be a completely different top 10 than what I talk about there,
Okay.
because as Marcus gave us here, it's not top 10 of 2025, it is top 10 that we played in 2025.
Cool. Do y'all mind if I start off?
Do it.
Go at it.
Sure.
All right, cool. So, yeah, I kind of came up with it last minute, but despite that, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Kind of just honorable mentions. These are games that I played for the first time that didn't come out in 2025, but I would wholeheartedly recommend. Titles like The Legend of Heroes: Trails of Cold Steel 2. That was a banger of a JRPG. Pepper Grinder. That is a great platformer. Metaphor Refantasio. That's from the Persona folks. There's a game called Yellow Taxi Goes Vroom.
Yes.
That one is it's
so good.
great. And I also played Sparks the Electric Jester 3 for the first time this year, which is kind of like an homage to Sonic Adventure 2 in a lot of ways. And then yeah, played Vampire Survivors for the first time, and that ignited, I think, my love of this kind of like new genre of game that will be kind of talked about later in my list. But yeah, just wanted to mention all those. And then how do we want to do this? Like all at one time, or like everybody go through their 10 and take turns?
I would have just said, give us your 10, and then the next person gives us their 10, because it's not like a big discussion, just a list.
So my number 10 is Peak. I only recently started playing it, but it's been, I don't know, I feel like it incorporates mechanics from like the endurance climbing mechanics from like Zelda, and just creates a very fun experience that you can enjoy with other people. Octopath Traveler 0 is my number 9. Just a great ass Octopath Traveler game, even if it doesn't hit the same narrative highs as Octopath Traveler 2. Then number 8, I've got Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4. I never played the my first Tony Hawk game was Tony Hawk's Underground. So yeah, just being able to revisit that and play that was an absolute blast. 7, South of Midnight. It's kind of like people have defined it as like a PS2 like a game. It's definitely got platformer roots and just a really unique Southern folktale story. Wholeheartedly recommended that. And then number 6 is Split Fiction. If you have a buddy, a romantic partner, a family member that likes playing games, this is a perfect excuse to hang out with them. My number 5 is Ball X Pit. It's kind of in the style of Vampire Survivors, crossed with kind of Arkanoids or Breakout. It's really engaging. Really, the loop got me. My number 4 is Hades 2. While I don't think it reaches the highs that the original did, and like the kind of intimate, the smaller intimate storyline of 1 a bit better than kind of the high stakes story in 2, it's still pretty damn good, and I love Supergiant. Number 3 is Blueprint. Just a wonderful puzzle game. Might not be for everybody, but just we discussed it earlier this year. Please listen to that podcast. Number 2 is Avowed. As somebody who really liked, Skyrim and has liked pretty much every single Obsidian game I've ever played, it really captured me, and yeah, I can't say enough good things about it. And then my number 1, which it's probably unique for me. I haven't seen this in a lot of other people's like top 10 lists, but it's Digimon Story Time Stranger. It's one of the it's I haven't had as much fun with like an RPG like this in a long time, and I love RPGs. RPGs are my bread and butter. I was just drawn into this game, and I did everything in the game and reached an hour count of over 100 hours. Granted, some nostalgia plays a role in how much I enjoyed the game, but I feel like anybody can really get into this, and I think it was a good alternative to Pokemon ZNA Legends that came out this year, which a couple of people were disappointed by. So yeah, that's my top 10. Who wants to go next?
I can, sure. Let's see. Let me pull up my list. Yeah, so number 10, and these are games that I played this year, not necessarily stuff that came out this year. Because my number 10 is UFO 50, which I think technically came out last year. But I first played it this year. It's basically a collection of 50 sort of small, almost kind of 8-bit, 16-bit style games. I think it was made over like a game jam. Not every game is like a winner, but a lot of them are, and they vary from like, old school RPGs to Metroidvanias, just like old school shoot 'em ups, like a really, really cool and fun collection. Had a lot of fun with that. Number 9, I have Luminous Arise, which I love the old school Luminous games. And I really like Tetris Effect as well, and this is basically just a combination of the two. It's just Luminous with the sort of Tetris Effects visuals. Really fun. Next is Sonic Mania, which is, again, a game I missed when it first came out many years ago and finally got to it and really, really loved it. Just super cool, fun, old school Sonic game. Shinobi Art of Vengeance. I got really sucked into this. It's Metroidvania-ish, but almost more level-based, but it's a really, really fun side-scroller kind of hack-and-slash style game. My next is Phantasy Star 4, which I played through the entire Phantasy Star series this year. Never touched it, even though I loved Final Fantasy and Chrono Trigger and a bunch of old 16-bit games like that. So I think Phantasy Star 4 is honestly probably just as good as those. Really, really fun. Octopath Traveler 0. Not my favorite Octopath game, but still a really, really good one. Next, I have Keeper, which is the Lighthouse Double Fine game. Not my favorite Double Fine game, but a fun, cool, trippy sort of puzzle platformer style game. Pretty short, nice, fun little 5 to 6 hour game to kind of run through. Really, really like that one. Number 3 is Avowed. Avowed is maybe my favorite Obsidian games since Fallout New Vegas. Really, really liked it. Fun setting, fun mechanics. It's like Skyrim, but if Skyrim actually had like really good and interesting deep combat mechanics, not just like deep kind of RPG stuff. Number 2 is Dispatch. Had a lot of fun with that. I think it's really well written, really well acted, really fun, cool little choices to make. I like Dispatch a whole lot. And my number 1 is Clair Obscur Expedition 33. I think a lot of people have listed that game as their number 1. I am also one of those. If you're a parry sicko, like you said, Javi, there's a lot of parrying in this game as well. Kind of really weird, deep like parry mechanics in Clair Obscur as well. Yeah, I really like this game a lot.
I started Clair Obscur and I got to that very first open world space, like where you first step into the open world, and immediately to the left is an area that's like, this is too high level, don't come here, you're not supposed to be here. And I was like, well, what's in there? And I go in there and it's just a boss fight.
Tell me
right?
what to do.
Yeah, it's just a boss fight. And I'm like, if I can parry every single attack, I can beat this guy. It took, well, so doing it takes over an hour. Like just over an hour of just parrying every single thing. And if he does get an attack through, you die. You're just dead.
Yeah.
And I fucking did it. I did the shit out of it. I leveled up like 10 times, got a super rare like what's ability to equip. So yeah, I beat the game. No, I didn't, but I did do that. That was cool.
Nice. Yeah. So well, that's my list.
Nice. I can go. My number 10 Starfield. Which was that? Was that also 2020? Is that 2024 or 2023? Anyway, yeah. I played it when it first came out and bounced off it, and then I came back to it early last year and was like, I really like this. Like, it's a Bethesda game through and through. But the way I played it, I had a lot of fun with it and did a giant ton of content in it. Number 9, Shinobi Art of Vengeance, which was on Ben's list. It's phenomenal looking game, like hand-drawn art. I was really surprised. I'm not a Shinobi fan in general from like the old Shinobi games.
Are you more of a Ninja Gaiden person, or were
I
never
am
able to get into either? Oh, okay.
No, I love 2D Ninja Gaiden, and so I was blown away by the fact that Art of Vengeance was just head and shoulders above Ragebound. It's a phenomenal arcade side-scrolling platform action game. Number 8, Clair Obscur Expedition 33. We just talked about that with Ben. That's his number 1. Great RPG. Number 7, Split Fiction. I would say the only thing I would say that Dex didn't already say is I think the person you're playing with needs to know how to play games. Because it is a timing based platformer. So there's a lot of things you do together that if somebody is not super familiar with platforming, especially 3D platforming games, it may be a struggle for them. But otherwise, I found that game to be phenomenal.
I know what you're talking about, the bomb arena. Like, do you remember that storyline?
Yep.
Yeah, or side story. But yeah, I don't think somebody without kind of literacy skills with like controllers or modern controls or platformers, they would probably have a very hard time with that.
Yeah, it's still a great game, but I just think you need to know how to play games. It's not just, oh, you can bring in somebody and you can push them through. They're going to be required to do some of the work too, and it can be tough for them and frustrating if they're not good at it. Number 6, Super Mario Galaxy 2. That remaster thing came out on Switch this year, and I went back to it, and I don't think it's as good on the Switch as it was on the Wii, but still a great game.
Good to know.
Number 5, Balatro. Played a ton of Balatro over the year. That game's just great. It's a great poker game. Even though I am not a fan of roguelikes, it's just a card game, so that works there. Number 4, Ratchet and Clank, the original.
Nice.
I love Ratchet. It's a great series, and I started playing all the PlayStation 2 because of this show. We played Jack 2, and then I finished that, and I played Ratchet after Jack 2, and then I started in on Sly Cooper. I never finished all of them, but Ratchet is still my favorite out of all of those PlayStation 2 platformers.
I did the same thing. I played through after the Jack trilogy. I went through all the Ratchet and Clank games, so glad I wasn't the only one.
Yeah, they're so good. Number 3 is Chrono Trigger. After, I don't know, 30 years, I finally finished it.
Wow.
It's as good as people say. Like that, I always thought it was great. I only had made it about 60% of the way through anytime I had played it before. I finally pushed my way through and got the end. Number 2, Uncharted 2, Among Thieves. I'm in like a group chat with some other people, and we do something like this, but we don't sit down and record. We just talk about the games on a chat. And Uncharted 2 was one somebody picked, and yeah, that game's still really good. And my number 1 is Mass Effect. I'm not sure why I played Mass Effect last year, the first Mass Effect, but that I don't know, Legendary Edition, is that the one that's out? The latest one has all 3 of the games in it. They refined some stuff in that make it play a little bit closer to Mass Effect 2 and 3, and it's a great sci-fi RPG. So that's my 10.
Great.
Nice.
All right, and that leaves that leaves Javi and Marcus. Javi, did you want to go next, or should Marcus go next?
I'm still getting one more game on here, so Marcus, go ahead.
All right. So my number 10, Liza P. Like we were just talking about, it's essentially the Bloodborne satisfaction, but much easier to come by. Number 9, Case of the Golden Idol. For me, that was a puzzle game that reminded me of like being in an interactive Agatha Christie novel. Just like, all right, and here's the crime. You solve it with the clues in front of you, and it was great to really piece those things together. Number 8, Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl. Sort of like Death Stranding for me, where just so much of the game is, hey, you're just traveling from point A to point B. Some stuff might happen along the way, and you're really just sort of taking in and absorbing the world. And I didn't play it with the most recent update, but it was updated enough where it was more functional than it was at release. So that was a good time. Number 7, a game about digging a hole. I love digging holes. Number 6, Animal Well. I don't play many Metroidvanias, so when I do one, I want it to be one of the better ones, and Animal Well definitely was that. I felt like it had a similar lack of direction sometimes that like we were just talking about Bloodborne having, but I don't know, maybe just the way it's presented, it was a lot easier to come across the eureka moments of like, oh, that's where I need to go. Or like, this is what I need to do.
Are you typically a fan of puzzle?
What's up?
Puzzle games? Really a fan of puzzle games?
I mean, I guess so. Looking at my list, it sure feels like it.
Okay, I was just curious because, like, I heard about, like, I bounced off of it, but I heard about, like, the creative solutions that kind of, getting through certain rooms, getting certain objects, and I was wondering if that provided more of a draw to you than, like, the Bloodborne experience.
It really, to me, like, yes, the game has a lot of moments where it feels like you're doing like, hey, I'm messing with the game. But then just the way the game plays out, it also feels like maybe that's what they actually wanted from me all along. So I honestly don't know if I did anything that was like unintended with the game. But because it gives you that feeling, I appreciate it all the same. Number 5, Astrobot, just a fun platformer. You know, real nice, simple fun for like 98% of it, and then the last 2% is like, hey, here's the challenge levels, get fucked. But not too fun.
They're so good.
Yeah.
They are so good.
Yeah.
4, Synapse. So PlayStation with PS Plus had last year added a bunch of PSVR 2 games. I've only bought a few just because, you know, VR is one of those things where you got to make a whole production of it, and you can really only play it for so long. And Synapse was it to me felt like, hey, you're John Wick, but also you can use the Force, and it felt cool as shit.
Dude, the Synapse is like so you can control stuff with your mind, like levitate it and throw it, but like its targeting is based on what you're looking at because it's tracking your eyes. So like you can be like, I want that box. You just look at the box, pull the left trigger, and whoop, and it like pulls it. What a cool like that little touch of like how to control what you're lifting, and then later on you can lift people.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Bring them
Synapse,
to you.
man.
It's like, all right,
Synapse.
here's 2 headshots. Boom, boom.
It's a tragedy that game mechanic is trapped in a game with such a small scope. Like I
Mhm.
want that in like a proper big AAA production, right? Because like it's the coolest thing I've ever experienced in VR. It's
Yeah.
freaking awesome.
Yeah, and it's all framed around essentially a real simple roguelite, so there's not
Yeah.
too much happening there. Yeah. Number 3, Bollock's Pit. Basically all the same reasons everyone else mentioned. I will also state that the sort of base mechanic where you're still using your little ball people to gather resources was a fun little expansion on the concept. Definitely dug that. Sort of maximizing the resources you want at any given time. That was fun. And then having one of the operators just play the game for you. So sometimes like I'd be at work, I'm like, I'm just gonna get some resources essentially. Let me farm that from like, you know, tab over to that and then go back to my actual work computer to get stuff done, and then I'd come back, you know, 20 minutes later, and oh, it's done, sweet. You know, it really felt like a little bit of a mobile game in that regard, where I'm just sort of letting it do its thing in the background while I get a little bit of incremental progress. Number 2, The Last Clockwinder. Again, another one of those PSVR 2 games that entered the service. It's a puzzle VR game that lets you sort of make yourself part of a Rube Goldberg machine or like an assembly line, and that was just like really it was really satisfying to be able to like, okay, I gotta do my motions just right to really maximize the amount of things we're doing at any given time, because the game is like sort of judging you based on per minute you're getting X amount of this thing, or you're trying to make sure that, hey, when you throw this thing across the room, your other guy's got to catch it and put it where it needs to go, like right in the you know, in a short amount of time, because your little guy can only do, like, was it 1, 2, 3 seconds, maybe up to 5 seconds of actions. So just being able to sort of line those all together was again very satisfying. Game didn't overstay its welcome. I thought I thought it was just the perfect length of game and the sort of perfect experience. And number 1, a game that has so many problems, but also offers something I can't get anywhere else. City Skylines 2. I've loved city builders, you know, since the old SimCity days back in school. We're just like making a city and playing with it. And as time has gone on, and my experience isn't just about how can I destroy the city. And I've, like, you know, just sort of liked urban development more. So when City Skylines 2 introduced bikes here in late 2025, I essentially doubled my playtime with that game, as I had previously made a pedestrian like mecca, and I was like, well, they need bikes to get around now too. And it's been great. I fear for that game's future, since they shifted developers, and for that IP's future. But I'm happy with what I got right now.
It's crazy how like being really the only player in that, or rather like they're the only people making that kind of game. You'd think that like the world would be their oyster, but maybe it's just the player base isn't there. I don't know.
Well, I mean, but with City Skylines 2, it's just they weren't able to achieve their vision, at least the one that they sold people on, and it, it took so much time just to sort of get it back to like a decently functioning state and to have some of the sort of quote unquote base features that people had expected after the first game. But yeah, it's also one of those games that's like, hey EA, I know you guys like gave up on SimCity, but you could always try again. Like I would like someone else to try where it's not just, hey, these beavers are making a town, or because there's like smaller scale versions of this, but nothing that's really trying to be like, hey, it's your world, go and
Yeah.
make it.
Yeah. All right, I guess that means I'm up.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right. In no particular, well, I guess there's sort of an order here, but let's start with earlier in my memories. We got Blueprints. We all talked about Blueprints. I was a big fan of it. Like I said though, like I feel like once you roll credits on that game, you can choose when you want to be done, because there's just a lot in there. But Blueprints was cool. Kind of there's no game like it, so I was grateful to get to experience that. Next up, Marvel Cosmic Invasion. This is a side-scrolling beat 'em up. It's very, very good. It comes from the folks at Tribute Games, who made Mercenary Kings and then Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, which was another side-scrolling beat 'em up game that was very good. This is a very good game. If you like beat 'em ups, this is one of the best ones in a long time. Number 3, we got Death Stranding 2. Y'all know how much I like my Death Stranding.
Sure.
But this time in Australia and Mexico.
That's right. I mean, so DS2 is a weird one for me because I fully agree that they've sanded off all the rough edges and made it as enjoyable of a game as possible. And like, I think DS2 would have hit much more positively for all of you guys. But I feel like DS2, all in all, lost a lot of the sauce that made me fall in love with the first one. I think that, like, ultimately that game turns into kind of just driving everywhere, and the story, you know what it is? I think that the allure of DS1 was just how strange and unknown the world is, and the theories that are being presented to you, and that you can like pore over all the emails if you want to, and like try to like pick up, oh, it's like referencing like ancient Egypt and this and that, and like there's lots of mystery to like unravel in DS1, where DS2 is much more straightforward, and the mystery, like, you solved it in the first one, or like you've done all that in the first one, and there are no emails to pore over. Everything's just like in cutscenes, and there's not very many cutscenes, and I don't necessarily love where they went with the story. And so while DS2 has it ups the spectacle, it ups the gameplay, it feels a lot better, it ups the action, which that also I don't necessarily love, is like, instead of having the risk of like you could accidentally kill someone in the first game, so you kind of want to limit your combat or just make sure you use like really non-lethal methods. DS2 is like, there are no lethal weapon methods other than like running someone over. Like, you can't really kill anyone. Every single weapon is it doesn't kill people. I don't know. DS2 was very good, but it wasn't on the level of the first one for me. Like, I think it lost a lot of that magic, but it was good. Metal Gear Solid Delta, man, if Metal Gear fans, Kojima fans, I'm one of them, are really annoying. Like,
no, I'm kidding.
The amount of fucking sentiment of like, if they do Metal Gear and Kojima's not involved, I'm not interested. Shut up. Like Resident Evil has gone on without Shinji Mikami just fine. Like, Metal Gear is great. I love it, obviously. It can absolutely go on without Kojima. As to whether or not it'll be good, I who knows? I think it could be good. I think it could be great. But for this first step of them carrying on without him, they moved heaven and earth to make sure that, these fans don't have anything they can complain about. But they ended up finding, like, they complained about the color grading. You know what I mean? like they'll find
But I
find
mean,
something to complain about.
I heard about what they did with the models in the game because Metal Gear Solid 3 originally came out in 2005, and they would have like swimsuit models, and they went back and got present day photos of those swimsuit models. So like women in their like 40s, 50s with their kids.
Oh
Put
yeah,
those up on the wall. I heard about that and I was like, that's amazing.
it is amazing. I love that. Like, what? That's such a creative and cute thing to like way to like, just nod to the audience and to those models and stuff. Anyways, I think that if you're gonna remake Metal Gear Solid 3 and not like a top to bottom RE2, RE3 style remake where you're reimagining the game, you're truly kind of just porting it and making the controls more modern and the graphics more modern. You couldn't ask for anything better. This is like perfect, I would say, I guess, like they have the classic mode that takes away the movement of the third person camera. It's only like the original Snake Eater version where it's top down. Yeah, I wish that they had more of the subsistence option because that's the best of both worlds. But that being said, like this game is so cool and what a treat. Like that's what I kept thinking when I was playing it. I'm like, what a treat that I get to play one of my favorite games in this new way. And it's made with so much love and so carefully, so thoughtfully. Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta is phenomenal. So yeah. Next up, I played Resident Evil 3 Remake after streaming it with my friend. That game is incredibly fine. Resident Evil 3 Remake is nothing special, unfortunately. I think the opening area is like, oh man, if the whole game were like this, where it's like kind of,
What's the line from Jill? Bitch can't swim.
What can't swim?
Bitch can't swim. When you dunk Nemesis in the river.
Oh yeah, bitch can't even swim. That's right. And then yeah, I played Resident Evil 4, the original. Game still is great. It's been fascinating sharing such an old, important game with a young person who wasn't there and knows games now, because it just frankly can't like hit the way that it did if you were there at the time, Like RE4, I argue, like changed the industry. Like it kind of, in the same way that Mario 64 paved the way of like, this is how 3D works, right? RE4 was like third person shooters. Here's kind of the starting point. You can there were third person shooters before RE4, just like there were 3D platformers before Mario 64.
Were you playing with a family member, or were you
No,
playing with a younger coworker?
Yeah, a younger former coworker, as we worked at
Okay.
Amazon together. But yeah, he's exactly 10 years younger than me. So I'm 87, he's 97. Having him play Metal Gear Solid, which came out a year after he was born, was interesting. But yeah, so it's been he's been generous enough to like humor me. Is like right now we're going through the entire Resident Evil franchise, and I'm like taking the opportunity of like, you're gonna play RE1 PlayStation, and then you're immediately going to play through all of RE1 Remake on GameCube, right? So I get to like see him fully experience the original
Curate the
title and then
experience for
jump
him.
right into the like, now try it again but this way, right? And it's been really, really cool to like get to see how that hits. But yeah, so we did RE4. He liked it okay, but he has a lot of issues with it. And then we did RE4 Remake is my next game. This game is awesome. RE4 Remake is so good. It took a game that like the original RE4 I think is one of the best games of all time, and remake really makes a case for like, yeah, it's that, but it's better, right? So I don't know. You really couldn't ask for more from RE4 remake. It's just so good. And then number 8, Silent Hill F. Silent Hill F. What a game! It's it's really in the running right now for my favorite Silent Hill game, and I did not see that coming at all. I don't particularly have, I'm not like drawn to like, old rural Japan. That doesn't do much for me. Like the girl in like a school uniform doesn't do much for me, but like that game's presentation and atmosphere and then like the story is so interesting. And like, this little detail is one of my favorites to share, is like throughout the game you're reading notes from your friends where they're like gossiping about you and saying shit behind your back, and these are your classmates. And then one of the main enemies in the game are these scarecrows that are dressed as your classmates. They're wearing your school uniform. And the way that they work is that they only move and stab you when you're turned away. So they literally stab you in the back when you're not looking. And not only that, they're scarecrows, and your name means little bird. So like, it's just, that kind of thing is so brilliant. It just makes me so happy to see Silent Hill be that thoughtful with its design. Silent Hill F rules. Great game. Number 9, and so these last 2 games are unusual for me. They are kind of live service games. Number 9 is Rematch, the soccer game from Slow Clap. These are the folks that did Sifu. I loved Sifu. That was another Souls-like kind of combat game that I was obsessed with. And so when I found out their next game was going to be a soccer game, I was honestly disappointed because I'm not a sports guy. But I did grow up playing NFL Blitz and NBA Jam, and I'm like, it's Slow Clap. I love the art style. It looks beautiful. And I'm down for some arcadey fun. And boy, oh boy, I am obsessed with Rematch. The only challenge in this game is getting anybody to play with me. Nobody wants to play a fucking soccer game. But man, that Rematch is so good.
Are you still playing that now? Because like we had a good 2-3 weeks at the launch. It was like, oh, this is cool, and then all the exploits started happening, and I was like, oh, I guess we'll come back later, and we just never did.
Yeah, no, I play it all the time. I play it like weekly, like every Friday. I'm usually playing with my coworker or former coworker. Like he's the only like person that like guaranteed will play with me. Like we're both like trying to maintain every season that we at least get to diamond rank. We're both diamond right now, but he's on the cusp of reaching the rank beyond diamond, and so we've been chipping away at that. But yeah, if you ever want to play, just let me know.
I think it's passed me by. But if you have any good YouTube like video tips, because that's what I did with Rocket League back in the day, just to try and like, all right, let me get some base knowledge of like the meta of the game. I would definitely be open to taking a look to see.
Yeah, I'm not at that level of like taking it that seriously. It's really just like vibes. I'm just like playing it and like discovering my own little mechanics. I'm sure there's the meta where it's like you do this and people are hopeless or helpless to the move, or like you need to do like, of course those things exist, but I'm not at that level with it. I'm just having fun, truly treating it as an arcade game kind of thing. But yeah. And then number 10, the game that I've sunk, like it launched I guess December of 24, but I played it all through 2025. I have 679 hours in Marvel Rivals, and I am probably going to play it the rest of tonight. Marvel Rivals, what a game, dude. What a game.
What happened to the development studio, though?
Yeah, well,
Sorry, not to
it's
bring it down. We're talking about the game itself, but
yeah, it's the well, that's the weird thing though, because if I understand correctly, it was like 5 people or something, like people working in Seattle remotely, but they were like key designers on the game. Yeah, I don't know. That all sucks. And also, like, unfortunately, this game is like under the Netty. Is it Netties?
NetEase, yeah.
Yeah, Netties, which will like pull the plug the second this game stops being profitable. So like, it's a precarious position that this game
wait, well,
finds
you
itself
can.
in. But man, is it good? Man, is it beautiful? It's so much fun, and like this is the most like this shouldn't work. You have all these Marvel characters and with their weird bonkers powers, and they're represented so beautifully, except for Black Widow. Black Widow's just a sniper, and it's weird. But like Spider-Man, man, dude, Spider-Man's the hardest character in the game, like easily. Like for you could just be Punisher, point at someone and hold down left click and you'll do what Spider-Man takes like 15 inputs to do, you know. And
Are you a Spider-Man player, or what do you
oh
usually
yeah,
gravitate towards?
I'm a Spidey. Well, my best character is Iron Man. My Iron Man is like I always put it this way. I don't want to play as Iron Man. I'll play as whoever else I want to play. And if the match is going south, I'll switch to Iron Man and we'll win every time. um, but man, this game's cool as hell. And they just added Gambit and Rogue, and they're both awesome characters. They're both so good. And Deadpool's coming soon. I don't really care about Deadpool, but I don't know. Daredevil's in there, and they made Daredevil actually blind, like beyond like a 10-foot like radius. The world is just black, and
I did not know that.
it's so cool, man. It's so, but you can like see everyone. So like through walls, you can see the enemy team and like kind of like stalk. You can like climb up a wall and just wait, and then like you can mark them, and he like whispers, "I see you." And you can like track them down. It's the coolest. Marvel Rivals is just awesome. So, anyways, that's my number 1, I guess, or number 10, whatever. Sorry I went so long. I have a lot of games I'm excited about, but there you
You're a
go.
very impassioned person. I don't think that's anything to apologize for. But yeah, no, that is our top 10 for the year 2025. I think overall a very good year for gaming. And yeah, unless anybody else has closing thoughts or something they want to say, we'll go ahead and start to close things out. Sound good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. All right. This has been VG Club on behalf of Ben, Marcus, Javi, Cris, and myself. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope whoever's listening to this has a wonderful day. Bye, folks.
Bye bye.